Hello guys, and welcome to finally another video. I've had some issues with my car where it wouldn't want to update, and I had a 12 volt issue with the battery that needed to be replaced, but that is all sorted out now. So now we are able to test update 2019.40.2.1. 2.2 was going to be installed, but that kept hanging on the car, and so I have to do with the 2.1 version right now. And the release notes, well, the number has gotten so large now that it's ridiculous. It's it is longer than what the screen allows for, but let's see what's what. While we still have a little bit of daylight left, let me start with what I usually end with, which is the disappearance of the lines here, and let's see how quickly it goes to the side of the road. A little bit jiggly, but immediately going to the side of the road, so that is definitely an improvement. Now let's see how it fares in that turn here. Foot over the brake. Alright, yep, that's not bad. I feel that there's definitely an improvement here. It's not ready for prime time yet, but there's definitely an improvement on this specific situation. I like it. Now it is a very busy time of year. It's almost Christmas, so people are doing their last minute Christmas shopping, and I'm hoping that I can get through my tests safely and without risk to other drivers, of course. But the first one here at the top, no issues whatsoever. My interest is at the bottom here, where the middle lane marker is disappearing. Yeah, it is still slightly going left, maybe a little bit less than previously, but that's been on and off depending on weather and lighting conditions, so I'd say no change in that, unfortunately. Well, one of the other changes that we have now is that AutoPilot is no longer limited to at least 30 kilometers an hour, but I can even go all the way to 0 and then start again. It is starting really slow, but it is doing it. So that's the first look at AutoPilot on city roads, where it will actually stop for stop signs, red lights, stuff like that. Maybe even pedestrians that need to cross a crosswalk. So that kind of stuff is coming. Might take a while still, but it is coming, and this is a first step in that direction. Another improvement that we're getting with this update is the automatic wipers. So now we have a so-called deep rain neural network that is using the cameras to determine whether or not there is rain. And what I've noticed before is that drizzle, like we have at the moment, I don't know how clearly visible it is on the camera, but drizzle has always been an issue. It's always like too gradual for the camera to notice, and I do notice now that it is quite a bit better. So automatic wipers, definitely an improvement. I've also noticed that the car, the AutoPilot itself, has gotten way more sensitive to rain. So you do get a lot more cases on the highway where the automatic lane change is disabled because of rain. A couple of updates ago that started to come in, but now it really is getting to the point where if there's a little bit of rain, not like this drizzle but actual rain, then a lot of the time auto lane change is already disabled, and that's very unfortunate because I think that the car is more capable than that. Here we're coming up at the S-curve, and we are still having the effect of the European regulations. But let's see if this update keeps it within the lines. Usually at the end it goes a little bit to the middle. It doesn't cross it. It should slow down before the turn. Does not slow down before the turn. Holy crap, it goes all the way over the line. Wow, that is really bad. Okay, I'm going to do that again to make sure that it's not a fluke case. And this is really a regression, but it did not slow down before the turn, and in the past couple of updates it actually did it, and it did it quite well. Let's try that again. Okay, so let's try that a second time. Was it a fluke case, or is there a real regression here? Should slow down before the turn. Let's see what it does. It does not slow down. It goes way over. Oh, only now it slows down. It actually would have caused a front collision or a head-on collision with that oncoming car. Tesla, I think you have a bug. So another thing I want to test here is what happens if I turn on autopilot immediately after entering the highway. Does the blinker still stay on? Because that was a bug. So right here, doing that. It is telling me to move over the lane while I'm still in the right lane. Oh, yep, right, it is blinking. I'm using the steering wheel to give some pressure here. It is continuing to blink, but it's not doing anything. So now I just hit the indicator stalk, and now it actually does the lane change. So yep, that's another bug that is happening when you enter the highway and immediately you enable autopilot when you're in the right lane. So we are behind the police car here, and let's see if it automatically will take the exit. I've had some bad cases and good cases here where it takes the second lane and not the first one. No, now it's taking the first one. It is a little bit jerky as the exit takes too long and it searches for lines to follow. Alright, time to test some auto lane changes. See if there's an improvement there. So there's a car coming behind me. I'm going to let that one pass because we're still with the 5-second rule here. That might change in January, by the way, where it might turn into a 15-second before we need to move. So I got a gap right here indicating. It might be a little more abrupt, if that's the correct word to say here. I'm not sure, but that's not really a big improvement that I notice. That it is supposed to be more decisive and everything, not really seeing that. So still 1 second. Oh, wait a minute, why didn't you do that one? There was no car in the way, so going for the lane change here. Oh, now the camper is moving again. Okay, let me move the lane over again. Yeah, it makes a hesitation when it detects the camper. You saw it on the mid-screen as well, where if you do a lane change and there is, especially with a truck or a semi, I should say, if there's one in the rightmost lane and you're moving from the leftmost lane to the middle lane, as soon as you move and the truck comes into view of, I think it is the fender camera, then it just freaks out, and yeah, the whole lane change doesn't go really well. Now it was just a slight movement, but I've seen complete cancellations where it jerks you back into the left lane, and that's really dangerous behavior. Okay, so something that I also want to test is I need to take the exit here. What if I'm not in the right lane? the car will not be able to move me into the right lane because of regulations that state that the driver needs to initiate a maneuver. Last time I tried this, it was slowing down for the exit, even though I was not taking the exit. So basically I was slowing down in the middle of the highway. Let's see if that has changed somehow. So here we're coming up on the exit, in the middle lane, unable to automatically take the exit. Yep. It is slowing down a little bit. Even more. Yeah. And traffic is too busy to let it keep doing its thing. But it is slowing down even though it's not taking the exit. And that is something that for me is also dangerous behavior. Here we are coming up to the circular exit. Will it take the exit on its own, and will there be an improvement in how the exit is taken? So let's see. First up, will it take the exit? Yeah, a little bit late, so it's going left and then only right. It is slowing down properly. And now let's see. Yep, we got the steering wheel limitation, which is also part of the regulations. It is a little bit less jiggly on the steering wheel, although yeah, no, I think it's more or less the same. There's no real improvement here, and it could use some improvement, definitely. Okay, let's throw another challenge at the car and take this really short turning exit. Not feeling really particularly confident about this, but it has a car to follow, so still maybe. It's taking the outside, going a little bit more to the inside now. There's no car coming behind me, so I can try to let it do the 90-degree turn. Oh, there is a car coming, but still a little bit behind me. So let me see what it does with that 90-degree turn here. Slowing down, really slowing down. Trying to turn, trying to turn. It is taking it. Yep. Barely, but it is taking it. That's a little bit of an improvement. So here is another example where we can only do 50 from this sign. It recognizes that, but the car is not slowing down at all at this point. I can tell you from experience, you can still see that it says maximum 70, and it's only here past that crossing point that it is saying, well, you need to go down to 50, and only then it starts slowing down as well. So that's several hundreds of meters that you're basically speeding. That should be improved as well. So I already had a couple of attempts at the lane shift, but traffic is just too busy, or I'm running into the traffic light, not able to do the test properly. So I'm going to give it a final go and see if we can make it happen. So the light is green. Let's hope it stays that way. And if it doesn't, then we're the first in line, so that's good. Maybe. Nope. So we're going to be the first in line, so I need to accelerate through the lights. Alright, so here we go. There's a truck in front as well, so I'm going to have to accelerate through that. Come on, give me AutoPilot. Yes. Going up to 70. Yep, that is just the same as always. Well, at least as it has been for the past couple of updates, and it doesn't have any problems taking that lane shift at the moment. Alright, time for another conclusion. And the first thing I can say is that with the disappearing of the lane markings, which I usually do last but I did as first test now, it is improved in the sense that the car goes to the side more quicker than it used to. So that's definitely an improvement. What is also an improvement is the automatic wipers. So with drizzle they now function rather well, but they are still going to learn thanks to the deep rain neural network. So each time you manually activate the wipers, that is an event that is triggered and is going to be sent to HQ to be verified and tagged as this needs to be wiped. And then with subsequent downloads, with subsequent firmware releases, that network will improve even more. As for the promised improvements on automatic lane changes, I'm not really seeing those. Maybe it's a very tiny bit, but it is still slow, and of course that is partly due to the fact that we are bound in Europe by the UNECE R79 regulations that stipulate that the car cannot move directly and the driver has to indicate, and then it takes 5 seconds to or it needs to start moving across the line within 5 seconds and everything. I'll link to that video up there so you can get the full grips again of what it actually means, those regulations, and how it limits AutoPilot in Europe. So there might be some relaxations coming in January, I hope they do, and then Tesla hopefully implements those quickly so we can get a little bit better AutoPilot and less dangerous situations. Now, speaking of dangerous situations, the S-curve, oh man, wow, that got me really scared for a little bit there. So it doesn't slow down anymore before the turn, and it is not allowed to take the turn at more than 3 meters per second squared due to the regulations. So that means that it just cannot take that turn, and it goes straight into the other lane and almost caused a head-on collision had I not interfered with the way it handled things. So that is definitely a regression. And Tesla, if you're watching this, please fix it, because it was working relatively well, but this has definitely gotten way worse in this specific update. So hopefully we'll get that fixed in the next update. Other than that, yeah, the turning circle, that is more or less the same, so not really that many differences. The one thing that I also noticed is when you're passing a truck or a semi, it moves a little bit to the side since a couple of updates. I find that to be really annoying on the Belgian roads, and passengers have also found that really annoying, because if the trucks, which usually happens or frequently happens, if they're in the right position, then you move over, you go back, you move over, you go back, you move over, you go back, and it's like you're a drunk driver. And I really don't like it and the way it has been implemented. Now, it has gotten a little bit worse on that front, because what is happening now is it's not doing that only for semis, but is also doing that for large cars like pickup trucks and people carriers, big SUVs. It's also saying like, hey, we gotta move away from this one because this is dangerous. Well, it's not, right? For semis, I can understand that. For regular cars, no, it doesn't need to do that. Especially on our narrow roads, where it feels like you're potentially going to drive into the car next to you if that one is going a little bit too far to the right because of a concrete barrier or whatever. So yeah, I'd like to see that either optionally or implemented differently, so that it's not as abrupt and it's not as seasickning. Let me call it like that. But yeah, so there we have it. The biggest issue is definitely the S-curve, and that's a really dangerous one. So that needs to be fixed. But other than that, we do get a couple of improvements. And yeah, let's see what the next update will bring us. So again, as usual, if you like it, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe using that button down there. And make sure you click that little bell icon so you don't miss out on any new videos. And for now, thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Bye bye.